Welcome back to season 6 of Time to Change.
We have some amazing conversations lined up from people doing the work. I'm excited for those and the change that it'll hopefully spark.
I can't wait to jump in. So let's get started too. All right. Today we have the Senior Vice President of Hub International, an author for Unlocking Success with Jack Canfield, and we're going to talk about the book in a little bit, and the host of Elevate with Annette. Right above her shoulder, Annette Dowdle in the house. Above her shoulder, you can scan that QR code, go to her podcast. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for dealing with all our little gremlins today. And you know what? Tell people what you do at Hub International, and we'll jump in.
All right. Well, I help companies. I help companies with their insurance management. My background and my heart is employee benefits because I think that's the key to holding on to really good employees, and that is the heart of a company. But I also have worked with a lot of private equity companies as well, helping them with their portfolio companies to make sure, they need an ROI. So I work with those who have a heart again, because you can achieve cost containment and still reward fabulous employees and keep those good employees. So, but that's what I do.
I remember when we were talking before we started recording for the second time, I remember us saying that, hey, I was doing some reading about you. And one of the things that I read was that you call your team the A team. I absolutely love that. Any insights? I know you say no one wants to work with the B team. I get that. But yeah. Why the A team?
Oh, because they're awesome. We're awesome. We're amazing.
And that's good enough.
You want the A team, right? You don't want the B team, right? I know it's cliche, but still,
yeah.
I would say that it has to stand for Annette, but that would be very dangerous to do that.
I love that because they're awesome. Mic drop.
Because they're awesome. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Annette, so one of the things I love to get your perspective on, in your role, you have a good purview into the health and the culture of organizations, a lot of them. So I'm curious, can you walk us through what, in your view, are some of the hallmarks of a healthy culture within an organization?
Okay. Well, first of all, I've seen, like you said, a lot of companies, and the companies that thrive are the ones who have an intentional culture. And I'll talk about what that means as well. And the ones that have a hard time, have turnover, constant, it's usually because a manager. That's the reason why people leave, and a bad culture. I think it's really important. You're going to have a culture no matter what, right? With any organization, within any community, with any group of people, you're going to have somewhat of a culture. When I say intentional, that is sitting down and deciding, okay, what are like 5 elements that are really important to, when I'm interviewing somebody to come into the organization, say, these are, you have to have these qualities or this is not going to work for you, and it could be, just the team together figuring out what that is. And sometimes it's, some of the words I've heard commonly is like teamwork, entrepreneurship, respect, service, kindness, love, actually, curiosity, humor. There's all kinds of different words, but what resonates with that organization. But you can't just say, oh, we're going to throw a bunch of, pinball machines and put
football tables.
Yeah, we're gonna have a happy hour on Thursday. That's not gonna do it. It has to be within the work itself, systems and everybody is on the same page. I mean, y'all all probably have walked in an office at some point in your careers, and people got their heads down and they're looking, that is usually a bad culture. When the CEO is sneaking out of the back of the office because he wants to run into anybody and doesn't want to talk to them. I mean, that's kind of not cool, right? A good leader walks around and talks to people, and it doesn't matter what their role is. They're all intertwined. I guess communication is really, really important.
I love the fact that you called out that it has to be intentional, because you're absolutely right. A culture will be created one way or another. But I think it's such a privilege for leaders to recognize often they're in the driver's seat of establishing what that could look like.
Yes.
I think that's a great question. That was a great question, John. I want to transition a little bit to the book that you were a co-author. How many authors were in that book? I read a little clip. I went on Amazon and I read a little clip, and I'm going to put up for people to scan this QR code. This will take you to the book. But tell us a little bit about the book, the experience, how many authors, and why you wanted to be in it.
Oh, well, number one, Jack Canfield. I mean, to have your name beside Jack Canfield was such an honor for me. I've read The Chicken Soup of the Soul and all his stuff and followed his work for years, and he's so inspirational. So it was a great opportunity to meet him and spend time with him. But have my name up beside him and the other 24 other authors was just such a great experience. It was a lot of fun, and I mean, I really think it's a really good book. I haven't gotten my copies, because my copies have like me on the cover, so I bought a few extra. I'll send them to y'all.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. So what did you write about in your chapter?
The art of reinvention. It's like it's talking about the qualities of successful people and bringing those attributes into your life and helping you be not just successful but in career, but successful in life. And I give some personal examples of how I started following like Darren Hardy and Jack Canfield, and how I'd made some adjustments to my life to be more fulfilling. So I'll save a little bit for the book, but I mean, I think I thought it was pretty good.
Scan that QR code, people. This will take you right to Amazon. You can grab that book, and I'm so stoked for you. I'm so stoked.
That was pretty exciting. Yeah, the launch day was last Thursday, and so we kept getting the results, and it hit like the bestsellers list. So we were like super excited about that. So I can also put on my LinkedIn author, and then I can go, author. So that was really exciting. I mean, I can try to be, like it's not a big deal, but it was a really big deal. It was really a cool experience. It was just really neat. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I had another question, but it sounds like you're trying to leave some suspense for those who want to read the book and really dive in.
Oh, yeah.
So let me pivot a bit and ask this.
Okay.
When all of these amazing individuals read said book, what do you hope ultimately that they will take away from it?
Well, they'll be inspired to make some, tweaks to their life. I know that, I mean, we can only live one day at a time, but we can make little changes every day that make us a little bit better, a little bit more inspired, a little bit motivated to push ourselves and do something really, like who would have thought I would have written a chapter in a Jack Canfield Unlocking Success book? I mean, like, come on. I think that, if I can inspire somebody to do something they've always wanted to do that's on their bucket list, that would, I would love to hear that they did. But I mean, somehow the ripple effect across the world, if I touch one person, that means everything to me.
I love it.
And as I
I
get
love
older, I kind of want to leave like a positive legacy because, you know, there's times in my life I wasn't exactly, perfect.
like us all, like everybody on the planet.
Yeah,
Yeah, Chasen has to deal with that
yeah,
all the
Yes, I
time. Let
do.
me tell you,
yeah.
all the
Yes,
time.
They
I
make good
do.
stories now, right? They make good stories. You learn from them. I mean, yeah. I don't have any regrets about my past because it brought me to where I am today. And because I've made some mistakes, and I've made some big mistakes, it's helped define me as a person with character, and it's helped me identify with other people, and I just learned so much from it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It does. And in fact, if I could pick up on that thought, it's timely because I have been doing some in my reflection. I dusted off some insights that I got from a book that I read a while back called Rookie Smarts by Liz Wiseman, I believe. And the whole premise is about how starting new and being the quote unquote rookie can really serve you as an
hmm
advantage. And the reason why that stuck out in my mind is because what you're describing, Annette, reinventing yourself, it often requires the courage to take a step and become somewhat of a rookie in a new
hmm
space. And I'm curious for you, one who has this amazing career where you've built a lot of competency and proficiency in what it is that you do, to then take a step to the side and be a rookie as an author. What did you learn about yourself or that journey of reinventing yourself? Because you kind of did it
yeah,
while writing.
yeah. Well, it's amazing what we can accomplish when we just put the steps in place and the discipline. Um, you know, I mean, just writing the chapter I did, I mean, like I wrote that in, you know, maybe 2 weeks. And I just spent, you know, like 30 minutes a day. I also it's stretch, right? I did not give myself a lot of credit back, when Katrina came to New Orleans, and that's kind of where it starts. Um, and that was an eye-opening experience that I have, and I had other experiences along the way to where I am now. I've had to reinvent myself. And so I um I think it comes back to stretching yourself, having big, hairy, audacious goals and just kind of going for it, you know?
Big, hairy, audacious goals.
Yeah, so
I
that's
love I love all of that. I want to ask one more question before we have to go. And I love your podcast. Your intro and the whole thing with you sitting there with the guest, your podcast is fantastic.
cute.
Absolutely fantastic. Please
Mhm.
scan that QR code, people, right above her shoulder and go subscribe to her YouTube channel. I'm with you. But I wanted to ask, tell us the premise of Elevate with Annette and what you hope to accomplish by doing that. Big, hot, hairy, audacious goals. I'm making this happen.
So the thought was that, I've been in this industry for a long time, over 25 years, and I've learned a lot along the way and I've made my own mistakes. And so I talk with leaders about, the importance of culture. We talk about wellness. We talk about being vulnerable and authentic and how important it is. It's other business people who they've made mistakes along the way, and it's sharing those stories so people don't feel alone and they know, oh my god, like I made the worst mistake ever, like how am I ever going to recover from this? We all have, and it's okay. And so it's a safe place for those who they want to learn a little something about being a leader and the importance of culture if they're running an organization of some type. But we dabble in wellness too. We'll probably dabble more in wellness in the next year.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for dealing with all our little gremlins. I can't wait to get this out in a couple of weeks. I'll let you know as soon as we have it ready to go. But man, I'm stoked that you were on here with us.